Hello, I'd like to welcome you all to Women Veterans Alliance Wednesday webinar. I'm Melissa Washington, Navy veteran, CEO and founder of Women Veterans Alliance. And our mission is to connect women veterans with each other and resources. And one of the ways that we connect women is through our Wednesday webinar series. So thank you so much for being here. If you haven't been to our website, we do offer business and career coaching. We also have the only online directory for women veteran-owned businesses. We've got a great resources, and also too, we have an allies directory. And these are organizations that predominantly serve women veterans. We also too have women veteran memorials and monuments. And if you're interested in becoming a member today, there are many great benefits of becoming a Women Veterans Alliance member. Coming up very, very soon, we have our unconference, and that's our 7th one. It's September 8th through the 10th. It's going to be an amazing 3-day weekend. So if you haven't signed up, we still have room at womenveteransunconference.com. So as we are finishing up our August Wednesday webinar lineup, we've only have 2 more. We've got today and next week. We've got Dominique, who's going to talk about freeing the mind and body from impacts of stress and trauma. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker today. Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway is the CEO and founder of Slay to Success LLC. She is a transformational speaker, self-published author, mentor, and a 30-year United States Air Force veteran. Rochelle also mentors and teaches leadership skills to Air Force first-time supervisors, is chairperson for Waldorf University Outreach Advisory Committee, a member of the Business Women's Network of Howard County, and holds a master's degree in strategic leadership. She also has a passion for health and fitness. She resides in Odenton, Maryland, with her husband and their son. So without further ado, Rochelle, it's all yours.
Well, hello, ladies. Thank you so much, Melissa, for allowing me an opportunity to come here today and just share with you just one of the many things that I love to speak about. So I am here in the Odenton area. I see one of my veteran sisters, Kenji Mundi, who's here. So thank you so much for participating on this webinar. And I have a slide presentation that I want to show everyone just to follow along, but this is an interactive webinar. So if at any point you want me to stop and, share or put some input in, please feel free to do so. I'm not that type of person to stop anyone because I feel like this is what we really need to connect to one another. So as Melissa said, I retired from the Air Force in October of 2021, and we reside here in Odenton, Maryland. And as I was going through my transition, I wanted to really capture some of the things that I was experiencing so that way that I could help another veteran, specifically a woman veteran. So today's presentation is to really figure out how to confidently take bold risk. Now, we are used to taking risk, especially being women of service. I don't think we have a problem with doing that when we are in service, but sometimes we start doubting ourselves, not sure that we have these innate abilities that we captured while we were in the military service. And so in retirement, we start to look back and ask ourselves, like, what are we going to be doing in this next chapter? And some of the things that we really want to do, we haven't really stepped out on. And in this next chapter, we get to do things differently, y'all. And that is kind of a mindset shift. And so this is all about taking bold risk and doing it with 10x confidence, not just with, the confidence that we typically rely or leverage, but with 10x confidence, knowing that, we get to do it the way that we want to do it, and we get to call the shots. And a lot of times we didn't get to call the shots as we were maturing in our service. So my name is Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, and I am the CEO and founder of Slay to Success, which is a leadership and transformational consultant business. I empower women with unconventional strategies to step up and into their next big dream, goal, or aspiration with 10x confidence by using basic life and leadership philosophies. So you will hear the word slay as I go through this presentation, and I want to share with you all about this slay mantra or message, and how I have used that to my advantage to be where I'm at today. So I had to have a serious reality check when I retired. I found myself in my closet. I'm not sure if anyone else can relate or resonate, but I find a lot of refuge in my closet. Me and my husband actually got separate closets when we moved here to this area because I didn't want to be, try to tackle anything in his closet and having that shared space. I needed my own space. And so I was in my closet maybe a month after we moved from South Dakota here to Maryland. In South Dakota, I was the command chief at Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota. And we traveled all the way here to Odenton, Maryland, not knowing anyone. I do have family in the DC area and in Virginia, but I hadn't met them or I hadn't visited with them for a very long time because I was off in the military doing military service. But I found that I was questioning myself. Like, what am I doing? Who am I? I can't do these things. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I want to do something, but I can't figure this thing out. And for I say about 2 months, I was really in this holding pattern of looking back at my career, trying to figure out what in my career made me happy, what did I enjoy to do, and then being able to take action. So after going through these motions, I decided the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to enroll in school. I'm going to go back to school. And that's hence why I received my master's degree months ago, earlier this year. But the reality is there will be, limited to no meaningful relationships sometimes when you retire. No one's going to be calling you and checking on you. You don't have a system that you can work issues out. You don't have a staff of individuals that you normally counted on, especially when you're in these higher leadership roles. So I had to bet on me. So that is the reality check that I came to conclusion. And so I decided to really study and to track my retirement journey. So in this webinar, we're going to be speaking to the emotional stages of retirement, how to build and craft your own personal transformational plan if you haven't already have, or if you are transitioning and you're still wanting to know how to, do whatever it is that you want to do, taking those bold risks, and what are those confidence boosters that you can use and apply today. So, I went through TAPS like everyone else, right? I went to mandatory TAPS. I think I went twice. I went maybe a few years before I retired, and then a few months right before I retired. But no one told me anything about the emotional stages of retirement. So I realized there was these ups and downs effects. And so I started doing some research and I said, oh, is this? And so we have these stages, the pre-retirement stage where we're kind of figuring out when we should retire, where we should retire, how much money do I need to do retirement. And then we get into the honeymoon stage where we're super excited, right? It's like no more responsibilities. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to travel. I'm going to invest my time, knitting, crocheting, binge watching TV, whatever those things are. And then you get to a point where you're like me in that closet going, what is happening here? This is not fun for me. I'm actually a little bit bored. I'm disinterested in doing the same thing that I've been doing for the past 2 months. It was exciting at one point. Now it's not really. something that I'm feeling good about. I'm even a little bit depressed. Maybe I'm having some anxiety that's going into that. And then we have the reorientation stage where you're really trying to get settled. You're trying to find familiarity with yourself. You're trying to find familiarity with your family. You're trying to get situated if you move to a new location to the environment. And then you get to the stability stage. Now, these stages are very flexible. I know many of us have probably been in the honeymoon to stability stage and back and forth and in between for a number of years. And so it does take time. And I'm just 2 years out and I'm still in between honeymoon and reorientation stage, and sometimes almost on a daily basis. So, but I said, okay, now that I know what I'm experiencing, what can I do about it? Right. So I knew I needed to attain a new mindset to achieve new results. The mindset that we have when we're in military service, we're working in a high conforming environment. That means that there are a lot of rules, policies, directives that are put into place. And I had to shift my mindset to, okay, there not everyone knows about military service. Not everyone knows acronyms. Not everyone knows ranks, titles, and positions. So you've got to really, like, if you're out and about and you're with others, especially in your community, you have to be able to shift your mindset so that way you can adapt. And those then produce those new results that you may be looking for in your retirement journey. So transformation, all right. So I am a transformational speaker as well. I do speak across military installations. And when I go, y'all, I don't go up and speak in military uniforms. If you see anything, I am in a pink gown. It is pink for a particular reason. I love the color pink. And that is really my way of letting everyone know, yes, I did do service. However, this is my next chapter. And this is how I'm representing myself. And so it took some time. I even got a call for me to come in my service dress uniform. And I said, I'm not doing that. I seriously wanted to make that change and shift to something that I was proud of, and making those boundaries known that I have changed into someone that, wants to do just ordinary things just like everyone else, but in my special way. So I came to the conclusion, part of my personal transformational plan is to really dial down to who am I. Now on I there's a lot of titles over there on that side, and many of us can relate. We had our rank, with our military service. We have a title of mom, spouse, daughter, aunt, sister, and the list can go on and on and on. But really, to the core, I've had to figure out, who am I without that? And I spent about, I would say, 2 or 3 months really searching for the answers to who am I. And I boiled it down to these 5 different areas. So, what were my top 5 favorites? Favorite foods, favorite movies, favorite whatevers, because over time, those things change. I went into service at the age of 19. I left service at the age of 49. So there was a lot of things that were were something that I liked when I was younger in service. And as I matured and got seasoned, I was like, I have different favorites now. I want to know what those are now. What are the 5 things that I enjoy? What are the 5 things that I dislike? The top 5 values. What is most important to me? But this last one was really, what were my top 5 most controversial thoughts? Many times in service, we could not speak to, or we were told, hey, stay away from these subjects, right? Because it could cause a lot of more interruptions and disruptions, if you will, on your teams, and you don't want to separate and put all your thoughts out there. But when I retired, I said, I got opinions. I got some very strong opinions about some things. What are those? And so I made this list, and every week I go back to this list, I check it out, see if anything has changed because things change over time. And this is the way that I feel most secure, most safe. And you can develop this as well. This is your identity. What is it that you want to see that you may or may not need to change? The next thing that I looked at was my wellness cue. Wellness in the military, and if you were in the Air Force, like I was, they only touched on four dimensions of wellness. They touched on spiritual, emotional, physical, and social. Those are the four areas. But then when I retired, I said there's so much more to wellness than those four areas. There's occupational, like what do we find most passion and joy in doing? Intellectual, what are we feeding our brain every day? What are we consuming? Environmental, who is in our immediate circle? That changes when you're out of service and you're not just assigned to a team any longer. And then your financial, what is the financial wellness? Was I okay with our financial standing? And so I did an assessment from a scale of 1 to 10, and the areas that were less than 5, I started to make some changes so that I can improve in those areas. For example, one of the areas that I was struggling with was my emotional wellness because I had a lot of deprecating self talk and thinking, oh my goodness, I can't do this, or I am limited, or I'm 50. After 50, who's doing anything nowadays, right? And so I was like, my mindset was just all over the place, and I had to figure out how to improve my emotional well-being. And one of the things that I realized is that I need to get outside, y'all. Like, I can't spend the whole entire day inside. I need to either walk or I need to go and drive somewhere. So I do one or two of these things every day, just so that way I could clear my thoughts, figure out ways to balance my energy. And it has definitely served me well because I selected that, right? So everything's going to be different in for everyone. So when you're making your plan, including 8 dimensions of wellness, and part of that certainly helps moving you into a better direction. And then for many of us, right? I thought purpose was something that you had to find. And it's not necessarily true. It's being the best possible version of yourself. We all have a purpose inside of us. We all know what sense of purpose feels like, smells like, tastes like because of military service. But what are we doing? What is most important to us? And what do we really care about and why? And making a list and going through each one of these questions. And for me, I was like, I love to speak. I love to mentor. I love to connect and meet people. I have to be doing something in that realm. Now, some of us, decide to go back into corporate space or go into a job, maybe that you already had lined up before. And, I'm like, yes, do whatever you need to do to get you back into the mode. But for me, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna pressure myself. Right? I'm not going to pressure myself. I'm going to allow me to really flow into ease. And that is why I started my business. I really have a lot of fun with it. I get to show up like I want to, and it's all on me. So we all have a purpose. We just need to tap into and those unhidden, those talents, those gifts, just to start demonstrating them and start using them. So I love this quote, life is inherently risky, and there's only one big risk you should avoid at all costs, and that is the risk of doing nothing. All right. So if we do nothing, we will live in a life of regret and we will be going back in our minds, coulda, shoulda, wouldas. All right. And so taking big risk, it could be frightening after your military service, but you've been here before. You've been here before. So that is kind of the mindset to take on. So when we're taking bold risk, um, I like to use strategies and I like to use techniques. So positive thinking and affirmation, starting out with I am, and saying that to yourself each and every day. So for me, I do power poses, y'all, in the mirror. If I have an event or something that is scary to me to do, like speak out in front of people or go to places that I've never been before, I go in the mirror, I go in a power pose. For me, is hands on my hips. I love my hands on my hips. And I speak my affirmation in the mirror. And this kind of gives me that pump up that I need. And my favorite affirmation is I'm getting stronger every single day. And stronger could be in any area of my life. And then self-confidence, right? And we all have confidence, but I'm going to be sharing some boosters as to ways that you can start boosting your self-confidence. Being very critical, having critical thinking skills, making decisions based on information, seeking discomfort instead of allowing yourself to go back into the shell and I don't want that feeling anymore. It's just a different type of feeling when you're retired or after military service. And then most importantly, taking action. I think that's really where a lot of us really hesitate because we don't know what we're going to get. And we don't want to risk a whole lot of things because we risk a lot when we are in service. But it does seem to move you into a different way of living. And you want to have a sense of fulfillment and you want to be able to feel whole. So this picture of this lady is very like fitting for confidence. She is just like bold. She's like, take my photo, right? I got to pose for you. And so I broke out confidence into an acronym. I love acronyms, y'all. So C, courage, right? And everyone knows that. So that's self-explanatory. Organization. So these are all ways to improve or boost your confidence. When I get to organize my closet or organize my office, that gives me a little boost of confidence because I'm like, I have accomplished something and it makes me feel like I have everything put together when we know full well that we don't have it all together, y'all, right? But if one or two areas of your life are, then it's just makes it a better way for you to show up for yourself. Being noticeable, and noticeable is about visibility. After military service, especially if you are starting something new, you're trying to get like I know it's not even you're trying to get acquainted with the new community if you moved. And the only way that you can do that is to be out and about. So attending network events, attending seminars and workshops, something that will light your fire and getting yourself out there so you're noticeable. Fitness is like Melissa said, it is my bread and butter of what I do. That was one of the things that I did keep after military service. So I exercise every day. And I think that helps me again with not only my physical, but with my emotional well-being. But it definitely boosts my confidence because I'm like, I could do a challenging workout here. I could probably do something else that's more challenging. Impression is what impression do we give to others? What impression do we give to ourselves? I had to upgrade my wardrobe like many of you have because I didn't have a lot of civilian type clothing. And so I was like, oh, this give me a chance to kind of shop and then allow my own personality to come out. But it definitely boosted my confidence. dedication, having a schedule of events that you're looking forward to, or having just appointments, or something, that even a massage is an appointment, something that you're dedicated to, so that way you can look forward to it. Having empathy for yourself, because we don't give ourselves enough grace, and we definitely don't give ourselves enough credit. Right. I think that sometimes we look at success as being one, like a linear or just one level, but it's certainly not true. So give yourself a little bit of grace for where you're at today. Having good nutrition, right? Feeding our bodies and our minds good foods so we can be fueled. That gives us that boost of confidence. Having the conviction that you believe in what you're doing and how you're doing it. And then the enthusiasm is really about bringing the joy and the passion and the happiness to what you're doing. So these can definitely boost your confidence in so many different ways. And so you can use, one, two, or three items here that you want to, leverage. So, as I said before, I started to taking some bold risks. One of those risks that I took was to reach out to certain bases that are around here in the DMV area, so DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and just saying, hey, I retired from the Air Force. I would love to go and speak at any of your, meetings, or, there's you see an opportunity. So here I am with the Fort Meade FAFSA meeting, and that they reached out and said, hey, we want you just to come out and speak. And I was like, absolutely. And that service has really driven me to like put myself out there more for other opportunities. So I mentor. All right. So I'm still mentoring senior leaders in the military. And this is one of my mentees, Chief Master Sergeant Christy Weiner. And it is an absolutely delight to talk to someone who is transitioning and giving them a feel of what it's like. So we're working on her personal transformational plan as we speak. She is like a year out. She's like, I'm ready. So, and I'm so excited about being able to share what I've been doing with other women. And then I created a community. So Slay to Success, like I said before, has several different levels of engagement. So one of the things that I decided to do, just like Melissa is bring in other women together. That is just such makes my heart sing every time I get to, and I changed my verbiage to I get to instead of I have to, right? Because I had to do a lot of things when I was in military service. I get to provide service in a much different way. And so I set up this event downtown DC, and they were just so appreciative. And so I will continue to do that. But it's taking a risk because I don't have a playbook. I don't have a guideline or anything. I just decided it was the right thing for me to do for others and paying it forward. So slay. Okay, slay is a word and an acronym. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to dream and work hard until you own it, and to impress greatly. And I adopted this word when I was still in service. A few years before I retired, I just started using this word as a means to encourage, inspire, and motivate. And after a brief, stint after my deployment, my last deployment, I said it's going to be more than just slay. All right. So it stands for stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of family, and you are built to last. These are mindset shifts. I didn't realize I was actually making a mindset shift when I was in military service. But these are the four pillars that I concentrate on. And, this is about leadership, it's about mindset, it's about wellness. And so I use it as not only part of my business, but I use it as a vehicle to reach more people, especially women. So, as I always say, keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. And thank you so much for your service, for everyone who is listening here live or those that will come back. Um, you are not forgotten. And sometimes we feel invisible or we're not sure if anyone cares, but this Slay Queen does. Okay. So I thank you so much for allowing me an opportunity to be here with you all. And if you want to reach out at any point, you could definitely do that. My information is here on the slide. And I'm hopeful that I get to see you all in person one day. So thank you so much, Melissa.
Oh, thank you, Rochelle. Does anybody have any questions, comments? You can in the chat or unmute yourself. Oh, Melissa asked if you're on LinkedIn, and I know yes,
Oh,
she is.
yes. Yes. I'm there almost every day. I'm posting. So you can find me at Rochelle Hemingway.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes, this is Marge. This is just very fascinating. And I've done a lot of studying, leadership and all of that throughout my nursing career and now retired. And I don't ever plan to stop. And your whole attitude, your whole vision, your whole inspiration, I have 3 pages of notes. So
Oh,
and I'm turning 81 in October. So so it never stops. You're absolutely right. So I just think it's a wonderful presentation, and I thank you. And thank you, Melissa, for organizing it.
Oh, thank you, Marge, for coming on today.
thank you, Marge. I really appreciate that feedback. And first of all, I want to say thank you for your service. Happy birthday, early birthday. My mom turned 71, and it's inspiring because she's still working too. So she's a respiratory therapist, and she says she's going to continue to work until she can't work any longer.
There you go. Yeah. And I will share Marge. Marge was actually served in Vietnam. She was a nurse
Oh,
in Vietnam.
wow.
Yes.
Thank you for your service
Yes.
and paving the way.
Absolutely.
It's an honor. Thank you.
It was asked if you have a flyer with your confidence acronym. I need this on my wall.
I can make that available to you. I'll send it to you, Melissa. And or I don't know how that would work, but I can send it to you, or whoever asks me, I can send it to them directly.
Yep.
Oh, can you send me too?
Yes. Yeah, just send it to me, and then when I email out the link, I'll include that as well.
Okay, awesome. I can do that for them.
Yes. Great. Well, thank you very much. And like I said, I'll get this uploaded to YouTube and send everyone out the link. And then I'll also include that acronym flyer, so you can put it on the wall or wherever you need to see it. So again, Rochelle, thank
Awesome.
you so much for your time and sharing. We greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime.
All right, take
You're
care,
welcome.
everyone.
Goodbye.